fair share is an interesting phrase right now, because there's a buzz around California that tribes should pay a fair share of their revenues or profits to the state in taxes. Interestingly, it's against federal law to tax an Indian tribe, so that's kind of a bad starting point. But instead of the Indians subsidizing, the state or county or city governments for their inabilities to operate functionally like a tribe can operate and has for 10,000 years, instead of asking the tribes to subsidize them now, since the tribes have finally developed an industry that creates wonderful entertainment, wonderful upwardly mobile jobs, then why shouldn't the tribes be able to at least expect that the state and the county and the cities would just leave them alone?
I didn't really have any feelings about what was going on beyond the reservation, the elections, all that kind of stuff, until the governor made it personal. You know, the Indians. Does he come out and say the Irish? Does he come out and say the Italians? All of a sudden it's the Indians. He made it personal, and when he did that, he put us into the category of a group to be looked at as something bad, you know? It was that we were a greedy group of people, that we were taking from the people who were working so hard. In that connotation of the Indian, it's like my history, you know? And when they put me into that category of like the bad Indians, all of a sudden, you know, here we are in the cowboys again. Here comes the Indians charging onto the white settler. They're attacking us, you know. Nah, don't go there.
California Indians really suffered. There were probably, I don't know, 300 different languages. And how many are left? A handful, you know, 20, maybe 80, I guess might be the top count. But people were really decimated here with disease, with the mission system, all kinds of things going on. There became a market for Indians all up and down the state, especially for young women who were going to be servants in households, and children who are going to be servants in households. And even up in Northern California, when the gold rush was going on, it was a very chaotic situation for American Indians, California Indians up there, because whole families would be murdered to get the women and the children, and they were sold really into slavery. There were ads in the newspaper for them, and there were market values put on, you know, a likely young woman, it would say. In other words, these children and women were sex slaves, essentially.
As the settlers came in, the reservations shrunk. They pushed us out here to, you know, away from the coast where we were, you know, coastal people. Kumeyaay, you know, that stands for water people, you know, people of the water. And we're nowhere near water. They moved us out here, and they pushed us out so far to where they thought nobody would ever want these lands or this area. And then, let's say in Oklahoma, where they found the oil, now all of a sudden they're, you know, they want that land, they want that area. Here, we were pushed to El Cap, and all of a sudden now the city of San Diego needed water. So let's get those Indians off that land and sell it, you know, and we were lucky we ended up with a reservation. You know, some of them were terminated.
When the government offered money to families, they also said, you can go ahead on your own. And it was really through the efforts of Ramon Ames that this particular reservation hung together. Tribal members also have a right to say, gosh, you know, we hung together. We toughed it out through some really bad times as a group.
I think that the federal government and the state government and the county government and the city government owe this tribe, but I think they owe them a lot. I think they owe you a lot. And I think if we could get that mindset and start thinking about how do we repay the people that we stole their land and stole their lifestyles and killed their people, how do we start to repay them? I think we'd be starting at a better starting point than where we're at now, and that's how can we take more money from them.
I had to say to tribal members, why would American Indians serve at a greater rate per capita than any other ethnic group in this country, when in fact they were devastated by the policies of assimilation in this country and by actually people taking their land. And pretty much people said, we defend this country because it is our country.
Native Americans lost more lives than any other race fight for this country. And that's very powerful, because I learned that when I went back to Washington to meet the president. And an old boy got up, an old Indian boy, I don't know if he was Pawnee, Apache, or whatever. He got up and said, "Mr. President," he goes, "I want to tell you that I am proud, and I'm proud of the Native Americans." I said, "I don't know if you know that," he goes, "but the Native Americans lost more lives fighting for this country than any race." And I said, wow, I'm going to have to research that. And it is true. We're the only ones.
California people recognized that there was inequity. And equity is painful. To give someone else something that they deserve because something was taken away, somebody's got to give something up. So this means something had to be given to Indians to make it even. And that's the whole issue, is when you've got a majority in power and there's a minority, to help that minority get back on its feet, certain gestures have to be made. Money has to be given. No, there was never any equitable settlement.
We know, how unjust things have been for us, and we're not going to do it to anyone else. Just because we have a little bit now doesn't mean that we're going to, come and take over everything. That's what it seems like people are scared of doing. Scared of us doing.